All right, guys, we're just going to do 3 and 4, and we're going to do the first page of our notes, and then that'll be it. We'll catch up on the rest of it next week because of the pep rally, okay? Because I don't want everybody to be behind. All right, so do you see this graph right here? How it's like, it looks like it's broken. So you've got this piece and this piece, and then that piece and that piece. Do y'all all see that? Y'all okay? All right, so here we go. So it wants you to write a function instead of y equals. It wants you to write d of t equals. We got 4 different sections, so I'm going to go ahead and write out 4 different lines, just so y'all can kind of see what we're doing. All right, so right here, what's my y-intercept for the first one? 0, yeah. And what's my slope? 3 over 1, which is just. And slope is always in front of the x. Very good. And I don't have to write the plus 0. Are y'all okay with that so far? All right. Now we have to, it wants the interval that it's between, okay? And time is on the x. So what's the first x value right here? 0. And what's the second x value? 1. So that's between 0 and 1. That's how we write that. Are y'all okay so far? Kind of, sort of? All right, the next easy one, let's skip this middle piece and let's go to this piece because this is easy. This is a straight line. Guys, what's the slope of a straight line? 0. And what's the y-intercept? It would be 5 if it was a full line, right? Okay, so if we don't have a slope, then we're not going to have an x, so we're just going to write 5. Okay with that? Oh, I wrote it in the wrong spot. It goes to the third one. This one. Sorry. Are y'all okay? All right, right here. What's that first x value that goes with it? 4. And at the end of that line, 7. There you go. All right, is everybody okay so far still? Okay, look at this one. This guy is different because you don't know where he hits the y-axis. You can kind of estimate, but you don't know exactly. So when you don't know exactly, we're going to write it a little differently, okay? And we're going to have a whole lesson on this to review, so don't worry if it's too much right now. Let's start with the slope. What's the slope? 2 over 3. Very good. And then we're going to write a parentheses and an x. Now, if we use parentheses, parentheses tells me that the line moved left and right. So from the origin, from this first dot and from the origin, how much to the right did it move from the origin? To the right. It moved right 1, right? Y'all okay with that? So normally that would be a plus 1, but when it's in parentheses, you take the opposite sign. So it'd be minus 1. That tells me that the line moved right 1. Anything that's outside tells me that the line moved up and down. So how much from the origin did the line move up? 3. So I'm going to do plus 3. All right, let's get that interval. What's that first x value? 1. And then the last x value is 4. Very good. I got one more section up there, that last section. All right, can we see where this is going to hit the y-axis? No, we can kind of guesstimate that it's going to be way down here, maybe like, I don't know, -4 or something, -5, but we don't know exactly. So we're going to write it with the parentheses. So find the slope. Five over 3 looks right. All right, we're going to use a parentheses because we don't know where it hits the y-axis. So find that dot. How far from the origin did it move right? 7, and we do the opposite sign, so it'd be minus 7. Anything outside tells me it moves up and down. So how far up did it move from the origin? 5, and we're going to keep that same sign, so plus 5. All right, let's look at that interval. What's that first x value? 7, and the second x value is 10. There you go. Kinda, sorta, y'all kinda, sorta, a little bit. We're going to do a whole lesson on that, so don't worry, okay? All right, let's look at number 4, though, okay? It says that you've got a graph, and it says that if that graph crosses the y-axis more than once. So, guys, what's a number more than 1? 2. So I'm going to have 2 points on here somewhere. And then, I don't know, let's connect them and make a circle. Well, that's a jacked up looking circle, but pretend like that's a circle. Y'all okay? It says, is that relation, ooh, that was our vocab word on my test. Is that relation sometimes, always, or never a function? That would never be a function. Very good. But it said to explain. Because what? Yeah, when we took our test yesterday on functions, how did we know that this was a function or not?
The vertical line.
The vertical line test. Very good. So it's never a function because it fails the vertical line test. Then I would say that never a function because it would have repeating x values. Yes, you can say the same thing because it means the same thing. That's why the vertical line test works. Are y'all okay? All right, let's get to your notes and let's look at the very first thing. So if you look at your learning target on the board, what's the learning target tell us we're going to learn first? Where are the learning targets always at?
Oh, I can graph inside define function.
Piecewise? Yep. Yeah. So we're not going to be able to graph today, okay? We're not going to be able to graph today because we just don't have time to do that. And pep rally and plus, I don't want everybody to get confused that's not here, okay? So we're going to do this first. So a function that is written using 2 or more expressions is called a, what's it called? Piecewise function. Very good. Do you remember how we graphed earlier this week using y equals mx plus b? Y'all remember that? So we're going to do the same thing, but instead of using the whole graph, we're just going to graph a piece of it. That's why it's called piecewise. All right, let's look at this. So before, you would just take this -2 and you would plug it into f of x, right? That's what we did before. But here's the deal. Because of these stipulations right here, you can't just plug it in. You've got to figure out where the -2 needs to go. So is -2 less than 0, or is it greater than or equal to 0? It's less than. So we're only going to plug it into the x squared. So we have -2 squared. So f of -2 is equal to 4. And that's your answer. Because if you were to graph that, there would not be a graph of -2 on the other one, because it just doesn't have that part. All right, what about 0? Is 0 less than 0, or is it greater than or equal to 0? It's the equal to 0, so I'm going to plug it into the x plus 1. Are y'all okay with that? All right, what about this one? What about 1? Where does that one go? Less than 0 or greater than or equal to? There you go. Are y'all okay? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, got some heads knocking? Okay. All right, what about number 2? Number 2 is a little different. What does 5 mean? Is 5 ever going to change? I guess not. Does 5 have an x?
Multiply it by 5?
No. Does it have an x with it like this one does? So is 5 ever going to change? No. All right, so let's look at -3. Where does -3 fall into? Which one?
5.
The less than 2, right? So your answer 5 is never going to change. So your answer is just 5. That means it's a horizontal line. Yes, ma'am. It means it's a horizontal line like that. And that means anywhere, if you go to x is -3, your y value would be 5. All right, what about 2? Where's 2 fall into? Less than or equal to 2, right? So my answer is just 5. All right, what about 5? Where does 5 fall into? He's greater than 2. So now I'm going to plug in 5 where x is. So it'll be 2 times 5 minus 3. Are y'all okay with that? Well, we got one more to do, and then we'll catch up on the rest of it next week, okay? All right, number 3. We're going to look at -6. Now, let's go over this real quick. You ready? Let's go over this. Let's talk about what this means. This means that x is between -6 and 8. That's all that means, okay? I know it kind of looks scary, but that's all it means. So so give me a number that's in between -6 and 8. What number is between -6 and 8? Any number. 3. What else? 0. -4. Any of those, right? Does that make sense? So let's look at -6. Be careful. Where am I going to plug him? Very good. It's the equal to one, right? So we're going to plug it into this one. The 9 minus -6 squared. All right, you have to square first. So it's going to be 9 minus, then the -6 squared is 36. Very good. And what is that? -27? All right, what about the 7? Where's the 7 go? Very good. And the second one, 7 is between -6 and 8. So it's going to be square root of 7 minus 3, which is the square root of 4. And what's the square root of 4, guys? 2. Perfect. All right, and this last guy right here, what about 9? Where's he go? At the last one. And we never, ever, 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 ever use decimals. So it'll be 3 over 9 plus 7. 3 over 9 reduces. 1 over 3. Very good. And we're going to make that 7 a fraction. Now, guys, look. I know that you're awesome with fractions, and I know that you can go ahead and tell me that's 7 1/3. But 7 1/3 is not going to help you. The improper fractions are. So you need to make these have a common denominator. So you're going to multiply it by 3. And so you would get f of 9 is equal to 22 over 3. Are y'all okay with that? Mixed numbers are not wrong, guys. Your answer will be right. But mixed numbers are so much harder to deal with this stuff than improper fractions are. Okay, y'all good? Okay, so we are going to go to the pep rally a little early because I've got to get some stuff ready to go. And we're going to catch up on graphing. But what's your homework tonight or this weekend? Page 23, all of it. But look at it, guys. I know that looks like a lot, but it's really not. It's just the stuff we just did, okay? Are y'all good with that? All right.